But when it comes to re-roofing, I like to see roofs done extremely well because you're not building a whole building. All you're doing is putting a new roof on. And if you can get the roof to last in that 30 and 40-year period, or a steel roof, you've just done a long time, and then in 15 years you're thinking about, something other than a silly roof. But it can come back very quick. But it's expensive.
So if you put the same type of material on there, you said the insulation was fine the way it is, you wouldn't add additional insulation on if you...
There's no reason to add in additional insulation. The R value is already there. I don't know, I'm sure your insulated walls, look, I haven't looked at the whole building, but the insulation up there is adequate. We're not putting any more additional insulation on nowadays. So there's a diminishing return on that. There's no reason to put an R50 up there when an R25, or we may add a little bit, but pretty much I'm going to stay with what's there. And right now, if we have a leak, the janitor calls the roofer in. The roofer comes immediately over here and fixes it. So we don't wait around forever. You don't do that. So it's really maintaining things a long time and doing it. So that helps best when you have your director of maintenance. He's kind of on. He watches that up there. He knows what's going on. He knows it's old, so they call, and the crew that you use to repair is RL Craft. I kind of like them as a repair crew. So they do work with me at MAE over here. And I don't so I pick the right crews to work with. You're working with one of the contractors I like using. So if they didn't fix the roof correctly, I wouldn't be using them. So
if we end up going with a metal roof, how much of the roof that's up here right now would be, I guess, messed with or whatever? How much would you have to remove? Would you remove any of it? Would you take all the rock off? Would you
take all the rock off, and you take all the rock off, and then I'll just give this to you. But you can, you just put framing over the top of it, and we add insulation. And that's just kind of an idea, so you get this of what we're doing. You just take all the rock off, and then you put your framing system down, your rafter system, and put your steel on top. And it would have to be designed to fit, and you can be done.
And then you're adding insulation in.
Well, in this particular thing, on this insulation that we added, bad insulation is extremely cheap. So the insulation you have there is like $2.50 a square foot. And this bad insulation is around 50 cents a square foot. So in the event that there is a hole or some opening, or there's some issue that we don't catch, it's just such a precautionary measure, because then I have this big steel roof up here. We run this 4-foot bad insulation through the roof, just to make sure that there's not one little hole or something where the heat's rising and going to hit the bottom side of that metal deck.
And we're working with a big building in another community, and where all the bolts and stuff are, they eventually work themselves loose, and so somebody has to go up there and either seal them or fix them and stuff like that. It's just going to happen.
No, we don't. That's pretty much a pole barn roof, but these are all with no screws in at all, no fastener.
Okay.
There's a clip that sets on top of that. These come together and we hook over the top, or put a seam cap over the top of the seam, that's seamed, and then that's, there's no moving part. There's no washers or screws that are holding the panel down. It's designed not to blow off. It's designed to the Iowa Building Code standards. And the reason we use steel instead of wood is that wood is a combustible, it burns, and you have a non-combustible building, and you can't use a wood rafter system over a combustible building. So if I have 4 or 5 legit farmers, they want to put up wood truss systems, so I just kind of let that know that we just can't do it. The fire marshal won't allow us to do it. So that kind of comes up, and it's a good question, but That's why we use the steel rafter system. And, we provide a detailed design of it. It goes, we provide a, I put together a specification, and we have a pre-bid, get all the contractors here. We send it out to, like, I know all the contractors that do it from Omaha to, so I make sure everybody knows about the project that we want, that shows up. And then they'll bid the spec, and then we'll bid it out, either the whole thing or partial, and then they're scheduled to do the work. And you protect the school. It's a roofing project, so in the specifications, you make sure that if there is a leak, and we get 3 inches of rain, it destroys this entire office, and it could happen, it has happened in my career, that the new carpet, the new lights, the new ceiling is all paid for out of the contractor's expense and not the school's. So it's not, no one's getting hurt. Things happen, so you just are prepared for them up front. And Payne, at Jefferson this year, we had a $700,000 job that we did, and we did a lease purchase or a corporate loan program, and that just allowed the school to budget over a 5-year period and paying it off, and then we took advantage of doing it in high school, pretty much, as opposed to just chopping at this thing for 5 years. And we're able to do the whole thing, and then they're 4% interest is what it came out to be, so it's pretty cheap. So they took advantage of that to get them taken care of.
How's it stand up to hail?
Oh, it can beat it up, but you can walk on it. We don't put walk pads. You can jump on it and stuff, but if you get something, I suppose it could dink it pretty good. It did at the Green Valley AEA that I did all that one down there, and it, unless it damages breaks the paint coating or the galvalume coating, that's going to have to be really, really big hail, and it's going to be knocking out windows. It'll do real well.
Been there, done that.
And that's what your insurance is for, and the EMC would come right through and put a new one on. Absolutely. I'd love it, but
Pray for hail.
I don't think we've had one, maybe one that I've heard of where a steel roof has been knocked out with hail. That's the issue on that. I'm trying to think of anything else I can share with you. But there was a couple of us that did it. I started doing this about 15 years ago, and I try and use it wherever I can with schools. I think it's one of my things that I will never go back on the road. I'm getting a little older, but when I was doing that back when I was 35, I knew I'm never going to go back on that steel roof at Bridgewater Fontanelle. It's done forever. We'll take down the school before we move that roof, I think. And when they're set, it was a huge deal. And I went $1 million over high school, and they did the whole thing with steel. So, pretty cool. You can do them wrong, too. They can be done wrong. Wayne County's sitting down there with the steel roof over the whole thing, and it leaks, it condensates, it's not fastened properly. So it's just like anything, you gotta be careful what we get, and I tend to think we do a pretty good job and we protect them in that. So that's why we have that. I don't know where you're at on things, but that's kind of the idea.
This would be the most time we've spent on it. Would that be fair to say, talking about the roof and thinking about?
We can come back with a PowerPoint and I can flip through it, and you can get an exact idea of what we're talking about. And I can, if you're really thinking about it, this is just kind of the initial thing I did for the superintendent and the director, and I said, I'm going to do a little bit, and then we'll just do the drawing, which takes some time, and see how it all comes together. And, but, it's up there a little bit. So just saying you're going to put a steel roof on it, it's hard. It's a big deal.
Well, I think that, if the number's closer to just guesses right now, but if it's 900 for something that's gonna last for a long time versus 600 for something that we have up here, definitely would spend the 900 now. If they'd have put this roof on when they built the school, we wouldn't be having this discussion right now.